Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Just a Fan Podcast. What's up? What's up? What's up?
I'm just waiting for the regular season to start.
Hey, but check this out though. Even though we cover the NFL, we can talk a little college football here and there, spot duty. College football starts this weekend, okay? And so from this weekend until the Super Bowl, we have football.
It is literally like, it is literally like waiting for, for some people like the Christmas season, some people like Halloween. We like football.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Football.
So, I'm your quarter host, the NFL Encyclopedia, the Wildcat quarterback that runs this thing, Coach Williams, the football mind. That way, the one who's just waiting for the regular season, the defensive mind, the Austin 316 of football from H-Town, Pando 316. What's up, man?
Yeah, it's the good guy with the black head, man. Like I said, I'm just waiting for the
good guy.
And he owns a folding chair.
I own several actually.
Down below, the wide receiver coach. The man's hands is better than Chris Carter's. Steve White, man, what's up? What's up?
What's going on? You wild for that one, man.
Hey, man, I'm just stating facts, man. They was like, yo, this dude, man. Okay. So anyway, hey, y'all, check this out. Y'all missed the good stuff. E. Anyway, so y'all fans, you all missed the pre I'm not gonna say pregame show, but the show before, well, whatever. What we were doing backstage before the show started.
Oh God.
If you all get us up to 700 subscribers, we will create a Patreon and y'all can watch us before and after the show because it was dead hilarious. You should have heard what Pando said about Steve.
It's a family show, man.
And you should have seen what I was doing too.
It's a family show, man.
But if you get us 700 subscribers, we'll get a Patreon and you can watch all that stuff and have a great time with us too. So get us up to 700 subscribers. There's 245 of y'all. Just get one person to subscribe, share the stuff, and that
parental guidance is suggested.
Huh?
Parental guidance is suggested.
So yes. All right. So let's get into this topic, y'all. Let's get into these topics. I tell you what, we've been talking running backs like the news talk politics, man. Okay.
It's a hot button topic.
I mean, yeah, it's a hot button topic, man. But I tell you what, this thing in Indianapolis between Jim Irsay and John Fitzgerald just won't go to sleep, and it probably won't go to sleep until we have, well, of course, until we get a resolution. The only question is what that resolution going to be. Is it going to be a trade out of Indianapolis, or does he just sit there on his hands and take the last little bit of rookie money this season?
So I can chime in on that one. So so with the way the running back market is right now, it doesn't. I'm willing that to bet that Jim Irsay is hedging his bet. Basically, knowing that the running back market is what it is like because Jonathan Taylor basically wants to get paid. And what's happening is he's like, yeah, okay, go out there and see what the market is. I guarantee you stuff ain't as sweet as you think it is. Hey, what up, Donald? So I think what it is that Jim Irsay is hedging his bets. And honestly, you really want to think about it objectively. I know how we feel about Jim Irsay as an owner, but he's actually on the right side of this business-wise because he realizes, okay, worst case scenario, Jonathan Taylor finds somebody dumb enough to pay him too much money. Okay, and he goes and jets off somewhere else. Okay, he can always find another running back. Running backs come a dime a dozen, and the NFL got $10. I think I said that last week. So it's not going to be hard to find a running back or two that can go ahead and basically do what Jonathan Taylor did for that team. Now, I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor is not amazing talent. However, let's be honest. In the past, they have been finding teams all over the NFL are finding running backs late in the draft or sometimes even undrafted who wind up being studs that they only have to pay their rookie deal.
Exactly.
Worst case scenario, I'm not paying you anything. Go out there and test the market. We'll get some draft picks for you. And we're going to use those draft picks. And we're going to draft some more running backs and things will be fine. Best case scenario for Jim Irsay is this. He goes out there and finds out that stuff ain't as sweet as he thought it was going to be. He comes back hat in hand.
Come crawling back to Indy. So really, and in this game of chess, Jim Irsay has the upper hand. I agree with you 100%. A couple things. Number one, I don't know. These billionaires, they actually do know how to do business. That's how they're able to be the owner of the team that you play for. So they're about the bottom line, cost, not being black, being the green, whatever colors are, profiting the best way possible. If you think you're about to push your hand as a running back and demand to get paid so much more when it's not even a running league now, it's quarterback dominant. You got things all wrong. Now, the hard part for Jonathan Taylor is going to be if you go out there, everyone knows you want the ballpark number you want. You go out there, they know that whoever wants to trade for you will require an extension. It's not going to happen. So actually, when it doesn't work out, the way you think it's going to work out, you come crawling back, your value on the open market next offseason is going to be significantly lower because it's going to show people no one really wants you like that. So he's really hurting himself. He's trying to coach in the locker room with his teammates. He's missing reps. He's missing time. It's a bad look, man. It's just a bad look for him, to be completely honest.
It really is. I just don't see anybody traded for him because he's demanding top dollar for running backs, and that's finished. I mean, we saw what happened with Zeke. We saw what happened with Todd Gurley. We saw what happened with David Johnson, and no one's paying that anymore. We're finished. We're finished paying running backs. I mean, the highest paid running back on a 1-year contract, and that's if he maxes out. I don't know. I forgot who it is, but it's like $8 million. So you asking for double,
dude?
You're not getting double. No one's paying more than $10 million.
I was surprised Zeke got what he got with the Patriots. I was really appalled by that. He's blessed from the man above to receive the contract.
Well, he plays two positions. He plays running back and center.
So, but my thing, okay, here's the thing about Zeke's contract. Zeke is $3 million base, which to me is not bad. $1 million signing bonus, which to me is not bad. And then $2 million in incentives. So until he reached those incentives, it's really just $4 million.
Which is, I think, is good for him given his recent production, what he means to that team's offense. Because we know they have a stable of backs.
They have a stable of backs. I think the one thing Zeke does at running back, the part no other running back on that team can do is he's going to be a good pass blocker, which would mean that for pass protection, I would give Mac Jones another second or half a second to get rid of the football, even though he's not really throwing to anybody spectacular. But that would help them out. So, that's probably the reason why they gave him the money. Part of that was because of pass protection.
But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the market is in the sewer. That's just being honest. Like, if I'm a running back, I need to either look at a position change or start investing with little money I have, because this is not something that's going to go away. This is not the way the league is evolving right now. This is not something that's going to go away. The running back market is bottomed out. And what Steve said is true. These billionaires may not be able to put together teams very well, but one thing that they are very good at is doing business. And they understand the market of certain things, and they understand how to work that market. That's how they became billionaires. So they understand, like, oh, I want this and da-da-da-da. Yep, boy, you play running back. If you don't sit down and take this ham sandwich and these chips.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, yeah. These guys know business, man. Like, that's all they care about. Winning is a bonus, but if they can make money against the Cowboys while losing, they are good to go. They are good to go, man. And a running back, nah, ain't it, bro.
And guys like Kareem Hunt is still on the market, and Kareem Hunt is a running back who doesn't have a whole lot of mileage because he was the backup in Cleveland for the last 3 or 4 seasons. You'd have thought he would have gotten paid, but that's how bad it is. Even
we're talking about a really good running back, but yeah, they're like, hey man, a running back with very little mileage on it has less value than a running back that's unproven and has no mileage.
Mm-hmm. And then you factor in off the field stuff, from these players. It's like, dude, the owner, the bottom line is going to get affected, man. They would absolutely get rid of you to keep that dollar coming in from the audience, that whoever, if you did something criminal or whatever case may be, even if there's a controversy or scandal case ongoing, they're like, nah, we can't have this around us. It's about that dollar, man. It's a business.
It's a business.
No matter how good you are.
And that's one of the reasons why Joe Mixon had to take a pay cut. Was because of off-field stuff.
Absolutely. He knew what time it was.
Yeah.
He knew what time it was.
And at the end of the day, it's going to be really about, okay, you're not going to make a lot of money. Make what you can and be on a winning team. That's it.
Yeah.
Try to get you some endorsements, go into other investments, other business ventures, and then stack your money and try to make it multiply. But at the end of the day, the value, like my son is crazy enough, my son's not really interested in football. But if he did decide to play football, my son is not playing running back. Like, no. Yeah, we want him to go out there and play some running back. No, sir. He will not be playing running back. He can play line, he can play receiver, he can play defensive back, he can play linebacker.
Yes.
But you're not playing running back.
No, because it's pretty much a useless position. I mean, those guys get worn out quickly. First of all, they get used a lot in high school. Unless you have a rotation of running backs, you're going to get used up in high school. Then more than likely, you more likely get used up in college. And then once you get to NFL, you probably have really 1, 2, or 3 fantastic seasons, and then you just start falling apart.
And not to mention your contract's coming up to a close.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they're looking at how many carries you had.
Yeah.
They're looking at your injury history, and they're saying, yeah, we don't value you like, say, a wide receiver, an edge rusher, so forth. Oh God, a quarterback.
So quarterbacks get value like crazy, man.
Exactly. And the smart ones know what they're doing by not taking too much money, because they realize that they got to get a team around them. Like, my hat's still off to Pat Mahomes, and I'm wondering if Joe Burrow's going to be as smart And when his deal's coming up, it's like, hey, I don't want to take too much money because I want you guys to have cap space to sign my supporting cast. And I don't want to. I'd rather not be the highest paid quarterback in the league and have a strong supporting cast than to be the highest paid quarterback in the league and not have anything around me and can't win.
Yeah, because I mean, we can talk about it a little bit, but Cincinnati, they do have wide receivers coming up. You know, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. I mean, they're going to have to figure out what to do with all three of them. Now, more than likely, Chase will stay, even with Burrow's new contract. But then what happens with Higgins and Boyd? So it's going to be interesting for Cincinnati after this season. And I know a lot of teams are going to have their eyes on that. Speaking of quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks have been named starters when there was some few teams had minor competition. Only one team had true competition. So Bryce Young is officially starter. I mean, a couple weeks ago, but Bryce Young's officially started for Carolina at quarterback. Anthony Richardson is starting quarterback for the Colts. Sam Howell for the Commanders. And Baker Mayfield, Eric's second favorite quarterback of all time, is now the starting quarterback over Kyle Trask in Tampa Bay.
I mean, that's like, honestly, I'll start with Tampa Bay. The quarterback situation in Tampa Bay is like choosing between drowning in a bowl of boogers or sliding down a razor blade into a pool of alcohol.
Man, everyone you named, these teams are so desperate for headlines, for runs. Nobody cares about any of these quarterbacks, man.
Now, Steve, I differ with you on that. The young quarterbacks.
Same here, man. Same here.
The young quarterbacks is going to be, they still going to follow them to see what they're going to do. But that situation in Tampa Bay, everybody knows Tampa Bay's bottoming out in the bottom of that division. I don't know anybody's got to pick in Tampa Bay to do anything. They know that it's a rebuild after the Brady era, albeit as short as it was. But, the young quarterbacks are going to get some attention because they say, oh, these are the hot draft picks. These are first rounders. Let's see what they do. And we're going to see. Because I don't think I'm not expecting much. My expectation.
We know this. We know the boy in Carolina is going to be. They drafted him to be the start. These grand announcements, Sam Howell, man, we know nobody care. I mean, people care, but it's like, man, save the headline, save the time, man. Announcements like
Steve,
man, display, man.
Steve, we're talking quarterback, man. We're talking quarterback.
I know we're talking quarterback.
It's going to be a major headline. Carolina.
He just froze up. But, the thing is that it's still going to make headlines because
major headline, big news, big news. Yeah, man.
He's the starter.
I was waiting for those announcements, man. I'm so glad they finally let us know, man.
Well, you sound like me. You need my caption in. You wait for the regular season, because okay, let's get on with it. Yeah,
we knew they were going to start for these bad teams. It's just
which I have a take on that as well. I don't think that if your roster is deficient and you got a young quarterback, you should not throw him out there to the wolves. Honestly,
no.
I fervently believe that. Now there have been some exceptions to the rule where the young guy comes in and just goes off day one, but most of the time it doesn't happen. Prime example: Anthony Richardson. He is raw. People are talking about his raw athleticism and his strength and his speed and his all of this, but I'm like, hey man, he played for Florida,
and he wasn't doing good in Florida,
huh?
He wasn't doing great in Florida.
But that's my point is that in a pro offense that he's not finna, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
and that's what I'm saying, Eric. The teams that were named, there's this focus. I try to explain. There's this focus on making these headlines, drafting these guys for these splash headlines, putting them out there to sell tickets and to be relevant. The teams you name have zero history of developing any quarterback. Not one of those teams have developed any quarterback. So it goes right along with drafting them high, throwing them out there, not developing them, oh, he's a starter. Get fans excited to sell tickets. That's what it's about. That's what those announcements were about.
I don't doubt it's all about the bottom line. But you can seriously
Excitement, it's entertainment. I mean,
some of the stuff that happens in the NFL seem like Vince McMahon wrote it, but at the end of the day, when we're talking about the actual success of a franchise, a lot of times they really hurt themselves, owners and GMs and coaches, by throwing those young guys out there, and they ruin what could have potentially been good players by putting them out there with less than palatable offensive lines. Welcome, Kylie Elise. I don't know how to say your last name, Revamonte. Welcome. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. But I digress from my point. You put him out there with a sieve for an offensive line. It don't give him very many targets or mediocre targets. And you expected, well, this kid was drafted this high. He's supposed to do this with what? The kid might be able to cook, but if you don't give him any ingredients, he can't cook dinner. So, and you ruin a guy's psyche like that by throwing him out there too early. I've seen it happen more often than not. Now, there have been exceptions to the rule. There have been young quarterbacks that have come out. They took their lumps early. They learned from him, and they wound up being Hall of Famers, i.e. Peyton Manning. Guys like that. But Peyton is not the rule. He's the exception. The majority of them, those young guys, they get thrown out there, and thank God some of them are athletic. They can run for their lives. David Carr didn't have that. He had an horrible offensive line in Houston. He didn't have any targets, and they blamed him. There's still people here in Houston calling him a bust, and it's like it wasn't his fault. You had a defensive-minded coach that didn't know how to develop a quarterback. You had a seal for an offensive line. It was a screen door with no hinges. That's what the offensive line was with David Carr. And then you turn around and didn't really give him targets until Andre Johnson, which was later during his time there. He was already shell-shocked. The boy had PTSD. So this has happened more often than not. Then you got a guy you take a Kyler Murray, for example. Kyler Murray had great athleticism, which his entire career, he just relied on his athleticism from high school to college and on. He really didn't study a playbook. He just relied on being the faster guy around the field and he can make plays. Well, welcome to the NFL, son, where everybody is just as fast as you. And now look what's going on. I mean, anytime they got to put in a study clause in your contract because you're not studying the playbook, you'd rather be playing Call of Duty.
Gimmicks, man.
And then he get knocked around a little bit. Now he's shell shocked. Oh my God. There's just this edge rusher, you run the same 40 I run? Hold on, wait, what do you mean? I used to could do it at Allen High School in Allen, Texas. Well, how come I can't do it here? I used to do it in Oklahoma. How come I can't do it here? So you have those scenarios with these young quarterbacks. And then the smarter teams, they cultivate these quarterbacks. They take them and they bring them along slowly. And they cultivate them and develop them until they're ready to go. So, but we've watched it happen for decades. Well, they throw these quarterbacks out. It's usually these teams that are drafting high, which means if you drafting high, you didn't have a good team. Okay? So that means you're putting this young guy out there with a team that's not good. And then you want to blame him and call him a bust. I'm just saying. That I didn't mean to go on a rant there, but yeah, the whole thing of how they do quarterbacks in the NFL, these high drafted quarterbacks, is like sometimes it's their fault. Sometimes, yes, they are cheeks. But other times it's the organization. And to Steve's point, to what I'm going on with Steve's point is, Steve's like big whoop because most of these guys are on bad teams.
You know what? It used to be a time when you used to wait 2-3 years, develop a quarterback as a backup, a high draft pick as a backup, and then you made him a starter eventually. and he was successful. I'm not saying he was winning Super Bowls or anything like that, but he was at least having a good season, winning some games, putting up numbers, yards and touchdowns, and he would have a solid career or it'd be a good career. But it's just everyone's now rushing the quarterback out there. It's like, okay, one, you have to develop them. You need that quarterback coach. And Steve has said this so many times. You need that quarterback coach to develop them. And I just don't see too many quarterback coaches out here really that truly develops these quarterbacks correctly. Two, you need the scheme to fit the quarterback. Three, you need the play caller to fit the quarterback. Four, you need protection. Five, you need playmakers to fit that quarterback. If you don't have all this stuff in place, then you're not going to get the most out of your quarterback. You just not.
Patrick
Mahomes came out of Texas Tech. He had the arm, but he couldn't read defenses. So he sat for a year. Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy worked with him. Alex Smith worked with him. He had Alex Smith in front of him, smart quarterback. They took their time and developed him and gave him the playmakers, the offensive line, the play caller, and develop him. And now look at Mahomes. Mahomes has flourished so much. 3 Super Bowl appearances, winning 2, 5 consecutive AFC Championship appearances, winning divisions. Mahomes is fine. But if you don't follow that blueprint, and a lot of teams are not going to follow this blueprint because they just want to throw him out there, quarterback going to struggle or not, you're not getting the most out of him.
I'm going to tell you like this. And when I say what I'm about to say, y'all going to be like, dang, you're right. Or you may disagree. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers would not be the player he is today had he not sat behind Brett Favre.
Absolutely, man. I agree.
Agreed.
Development is so important, man. Like, you have some quarterbacks where it's rare where they just pick up on the system and work hard on their own. But for most quarterbacks, man, development and having the right system around them is so important, man. And not, like you said, put them out there too early.
Because you could take a guy who has amazing physical attributes, but doesn't really understand the pro game, and now you might ruin a guy like that, because hell, I'm gonna use Trey Lance. The fact that he's still on the team is a miracle, but he only got 4 starts, and then he was injured for most of that. That's why he only got 4 starts, rather. But he was raw. He only had 18 starts in college. So it is, you can't rush these guys into action just because, oh my God, he can get down on his knees at the goal line, throw a football and hit the other goal line.
You know what?
Because he runs a 4.340.
Eric.
Or he benches this much. Yeah.
The first quarterback I ever heard to do that was Kyle Bowler, and I just thought that was the most worthless statistic or attribute ever, was to be on your knees at the 50-yard line and be able to throw the ball through the goalpost. Mm-hmm. Arm strength is great, okay? Don't get me wrong. But before Kyle Bowler, there was Jeff George, okay? And to me, that's the most annoying thing in the world, is to sit there and say, oh, look at me. I can. No. They had Anthony Richardson at his pro day throw the ball and have it touch the top of the ceiling or whatever.
Because people who don't know football buy into that and love that so much. It's a gimmick, man. It's like,
explain to me how that's going to help you win games.
These athletes are all on the same level, man. Like you said, Eric, you have kickers running as fast as running backs. Kickers running faster than quarterbacks. Quarterback, you can throw 100 yards, but you're not going to have the chance to do that in an NFL game.
Right. Like, are you going to be able to put the ball through the uprights every single time I ask you to from whatever distance? That's all that matters if you're a kicker. It's like, I don't care about how far you can throw a football if you can't thread the needle in tight coverage, or if you can't read well enough to realize I shouldn't throw here. There's my read over there. There's my second read. There's my third read.
Doing bench presses, 20-yard short shuttles. Like, he's never going to need to apply this in any NFL game.
And that's why we call the combine the underwear Olympics. Now, granted, some of those drills do matter, but not to the point where, oh my God, he had this 40. Like John Ross had the fastest 40 time. Is he still even in the league? You know what I'm saying?
I thought he retired.
That's my point.
I think he's still playing, which proves your point.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. My thing, but like you said, though, he ran a 40-yard dash in 4.22 seconds, and the man can't catch.
He's not in the league, actually.
Oh, he's not in the league.
That's I'm finna say. I don't think he's in the league.
He retired.
That's what I thought. I thought John Ross retired. I said John Ross
a few months ago from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Case in.
The man ran a 4.22 40-yard dash. Burnt the combine up.
Got the $1 million contract from Adidas. Remember, they said whoever runs the fastest 40 will give you, or like maybe like $100K or something like that. Big difference, but he got a cleat contract.
He can't catch.
Yeah,
he can't catch,
and was injury prone,
and probably was not a good route runner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's move on to.
So let's segue about injuries because we John Ross had a history injury. Yeah, so basically, it's the thing about those injuries is like I think we're all in agreement here. Excuse me. The fact that there are certain players on certain teams that do not need to suit up at all in the preseason, and you run the risk of really sabotaging your season when you put those guys out there. What happened, Steve?
No, I'll let you finish.
Okay, but like you really run the risk of sabotaging your season when you put those guys out there, or you have them out there for too long. Yes, you got to give them a little warm up for the season and so on and so forth. But I mean, there's some guys that are so good that they don't have to play a down of preseason football, and they're going to be fine opening day.
Exactly.
And we witnessed some injuries around the league that's like, oh, that might hurt them for the first part of the season at least. This might be a problem for them. Terry McLaurin has turf toe now, the best receiver on the Washington Commanders.
Yes. Let me cut you off. Number one, these guys are practicing every day anyway. So it's not like they're just sitting on the couch.
Exactly.
They're practicing hard every day, all day.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Washington, you bring in Eric Bieniemy, a good offensive coordinator, right? If you plan to have any kind of decent offense or good offense, guess who the best person on your offense is? Terry McLaurin. He should not be playing in any preseason game. He's one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah.
Why would you have your best offensive player playing in that game? But it's the Washington culture. I don't enjoy his injury. I'm a big fan of his, but I just love seeing the Washington dysfunction continue, even with the new ownership and the new offensive coordinator. Typical Washington L. I digress.
Well, Steve, here's the thing.
I'll allow it because you know why? Jackson Smith and Jigba has to have surgery. He's probably gonna miss the first 2 weeks of the season, and he's a season.
Okay, but going back to Washington, the only pushback I got for you, Steve, is that they're in a new offense, and so they need to get the rhythm down.
They still practice.
And I hear you, man.
They're still practice.
I understand.
They're practicing hard every day, man.
No, I know they are.
And injuries can happen in practice too.
Huh?
injuries can happen in practice too. And I get it with the quarterback and the whole, but it's just like when you're that strapped as far as your roster and really good players on your roster, I would think you would want to protect and preserve that.
Okay, so I want to address the point where you said you can get injuries in practice too. Yes, this is true, but the difference between practice and a live game, even though it's preseason, there's usually not some Joe Blow that got drafted in the 7th round trying to make a roster spot, trying to take your damn head off. Because they know if they do, they got a better shot of getting a roster spot.
And this is and this is the thing. These players, they get hurt in practice too. There's so many injuries that go unreported. He's probably already aching. Players already get banged in practice daily.
Look,
you can put one of the best receivers in the league in his brand new offense. Again, hey, if they like it, I love it.
Look, I was going to say something. I just lost my train of thought. Forget it.
Getting old, man. You can't do that, man.
Eric,
write it down, man. You got to write it down.
Eric, I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest on this live stream right now.
I know.
So that means you shouldn't talk.
No, that means that what it is. What it means is I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I ever was. Don't forget that.
I'm with you on that. I don't appreciate the age call out.
But basically, to piggyback on the whole point is that I understand what coaches are thinking, but they run a serious risk when you have your star players out there in meaningless preseason games. And I know you like, well, they got to get some warm up, they got to get some burn, but it is, especially teams that are trying to contend, teams that are trying, and at the end of the day, everybody's 0-0, so everybody's a Super Bowl contender week 1. Even though we know there's some teams that aren't, like the Cardinals and who else is going to be garbage this year? Probably Tampa Bay, but you still go into it with the mindset that you're trying to win. However, you just got to be careful. And especially if your team has a history of injuries, then it's like, okay, you know what? We really need to pump our brakes on playing these starters because we have a history of guys getting hurt. So I'm kind of on the fence. I understand why you need to play some starters for a little bit, but at the same time, those guys that go long into the game. Yeah, why is the starter out here? Why is this guy out here? Okay, you playing with fire.
Now I tell you what, if there's certain football players in preseason game that have proven themselves and they've been proving themselves since camp has started, I would start putting them on bubble wrap because right now there's a couple players in Dallas,
DeMariano,
who've been playing. No, I know he got hurt, but there are a couple players now in Dallas who I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm putting them in bubble wrap, and they're not playing this final preseason game.
Well, especially your high draft picks. I mean, you want them to get reps, but they have guaranteed money, and if you need to translate on the field some kind of way.
Yeah, that's where the almighty dollar comes into play again. We start talking about the business side of it. And it's like, dude, you about to pay this guy guaranteed money and you about to get him hurt in a meaningless preseason game. He can't help you win games and you're losing money on your investment. So it's like, yeah.
At least, if you're going to get hurt, at least, and who may disagree, at least get hurt in a regular season game so that at least maybe your effort has translated to a W.
Yeah. So I agree, and I also agree with what Brandon is saying about, once you have some young guys that have proven themselves and it looks like they are locked to get a roster spot, go ahead and pull them out too. If you got a rookie that's just been lighting it up the entire, the first 2 preseason games, it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure this rookie's going to get a spot. He may not start, but he's definitely got a spot on his roster. Don't play him. Pull him out. This last week that we're about to witness in the preseason, this last week right here, what we need to see from every team that's playing is those guys that are bubble guys. Is he gonna get a spot? Maybe, maybe not. Those guys need to play. And I guarantee you, fans, people that are listening to right now, the guys, folks that are watching at home, and the people that'll watch this later, your best preseason football is the latter part of the latter games of the preseason, because these guys trying to make the roster. They trying to pay bills. You want to see gladiatorial combat at its best. You want to see guys that got drafted in the 7th round and they undrafted and they playing like 3 quarters out of the 4 quarters of a preseason game, the last preseason game, because it's cut day next week. And it's like, I don't want to be in that number. I want to make sure that they sewing my nameplate on a jersey.
Listen, they getting that close to a roster spot. I mean, life changing. They got the family watching them. Got their girlfriends probably out there hanging out with them. They're like, yo, I'm this close to changing everyone's life in my family.
May the odds ever be in your favor.
It's
the Hunger Games, baby. Dog, it's the Hunger Games. I enjoy watching it. It be sloppy football. It be some dumb stuff going on, but I enjoy watching that last preseason game, those final guys trying to get spots, because it's literally like watching Spartacus. It's like somebody might get killed out there. It's like good God.
And one mess up, man, you can just forget about it. Like even to Brandon's point about rookies that have proven themselves early on. Like I'll say last year, Kevontae Turpin, he returned 2 kicks in that one game. I was like, okay, we can see him. He's starting kick return.
Right. You don't need to play no more. We know what he is, you know. But those guys that you're not quite sure about, like I'm on you're the coach, like I'm on the fence about cutting him. I'm on the fence about keeping him. That guy's gonna play a whole lot in that last game. And that guy knows this. He knows the same thing the coaches know, man. They think about cutting me. I better do something big. They gonna try to make play after play after play. Every play that they play in, they're gonna try to win the Super Bowl on that play. And it's sometimes it's gonna be glorious, and other times it's gonna be egregiously bad.
I mean, it's like, you know, even these guys play football since they were in elementary school, man. It's like it all comes down to that. They gonna give it their all, man. Like it was all about this moment right here. Like that's why we watch Hard Knocks, you know, different seasons. Rookies fumble and stuff. Is like, just walk home. Just go ahead and walk home.
Yeah, it's but for those of you who are watching, I promise you the most entertaining games during the preseason used to be 4 games. It used to be that 4th game. But now it's the 3rd game. And you definitely want to watch the second half of the 3rd game, because here's the thing. Not only are they trying to make that team, but if they get cut from that team, they want to have enough film for wherever they're trying to wind up at. I'm trying to get on such practice squad. I'm trying to get, I'm trying to be a starter in the USFL or the XFL so I can get another shot, maybe bounce back to the NFL after I go off there. So they trying to get some film. They finna act a fool. And it's like, who is this guy? Guys, you probably going to forget about, but you won't forget the plays. You're like, did he just...
And you know what? If he had a solid showing, maybe your team just tight on spots. It happens all the time. You get picked up by another team. They saw what you did, solid showing. That's all you can do, man.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Do we have anything from the fans, any comments, any questions from us? Because that's pretty much we've been talking about Jonathan Taylor, the injuries, the quarterback situation. Anybody got any comments or questions? Because we love to take them right now. We got a little time left. Anybody got anything to say?
I want to say, I don't know if anyone's going to say it on here, but, man, my timeline from this Washington and Baltimore preseason game yesterday was crazy. This was a big deal. I mean, I get the proximity that a rivalry, I guess, was created, but this was like people were really talking about this game. Like it was like preseason, a flex schedule game. Both teams are playing for a playoff spot. It was a big deal, man. They were going off, dude. They were going off, man.
And see that whole thing about I didn't get a chance to watch that game, unfortunately.
I didn't watch it either. I don't watch preseason.
I still watch preseason when I get a chance. But the thing that was is that you have this rivalry, and you guys could talk about it more than I could. In that area, that DMV area, between the Baltimore fans and the Washington fans. So to them, this wasn't a preseason game. And I've seen this happen down on my neck of the woods because Dallas will play Houston in the preseason, and it's like they talking like it's like a playoff game. And it's like, bro, it's just preseason. And the funny thing is, because I'm a fan of neither, I favor one more than the other. But the funny thing is whoever loses, man, it's just preseason. But whoever wins that game is like, yeah, we got y'all. And right now, Washington fans are going nuts. Like, I got a buddy of mine I went to college with. He's from the DMV, and he's got like a picture of like somebody did a cartoon of Sam Howell drawing back a bow, and it's like dead ravens are on the ground around it with arrows stuck in them. And it's like, bro,
so
it's a preseason game, man.
So the rivalry is, well, obviously the proximity of both teams, right? But see, a lot of Washington fans, not a lot of them, some Ravens fans used to be Washington fans. So there's that aspect.
Okay.
For sure.
I'm learning.
Washington fans are known to be tired of the team and to like somebody else. I think I said that before. Two, the Ravens had a really long preseason win streak, which they took a lot of pride in. So that ended at the hands of Washington, you know. And then Ravens fans, they know how far Baltimore goes. Washington's going to bring up this preseason win. I'm telling you, as a Cowboys fan, they're going to hear about it no matter what.
Well, you know, I said that division rivalry. I get that part, but I've never seen people so excited from a preseason game than these Commanders fans who just beat the Ravens. Now, I do understand the Ravens have they've gone undefeated in preseason for 3 years now?
No longer than that. I think they won like 23 games in a row, preseason games in a row.
It's quite a streak.
Like, yeah.
And the Commanders broke that streak, but it's like, what is that saying? That's like, you're not saying much. Yeah. It's like, okay, I skipped the rock the most times on the lake. You know, the rock's still gonna wind up in the water at the bottom of the lake. You know, you can't. And that's the best analogy I can come up with. But it's like,
dude, but that's what Cowboys fans would deal with. Listen, man, we could go 16. We can go 16-1. We'll sit our starters against Washington week now 18, and we won that week 18 game though. We won that game. They literally these are conversations that happen all the time from Washington fans. Please believe me when I say this.
Yeah,
and they just hold on to stuff like that. So that's what it's gonna be. So Ravens fans, you gonna hear from them.
But
and it's not right. But
I had never seen anything. I'm like, for real? Are y'all really y'all doing this for real? Are you serious? Okay, you know what?
Now let me chime in as a Commanders fan.
Busting up in here like,
wait.
He knows I'm not lying. He knows I'm not lying. I'm not Tristan.
Wait.
Dance puppets, dance.
Time out. Let's give Tristan the floor. Tristan, go.
I sat here and I listened to y'all do this, okay? And I was listening to Steve, and I'm trying to take care of my house and everything, but I was not going to let Steve go with this slander, okay? Listen. Stop listening to the delusion. Those are not the fans you need to listen to. This is coming from a Commanders fan that has logic and reason. Let me tell you why people were so amped about that preseason game victory against the Ravens. It's not so much that it was just the streak being, but how did the team look? We're out of the Dan Snyder era. Understand this. This is over 2 decades. Over 2 decades of watching this team, watching the fans just not not want to go, not want to be supportive because Dan Snyder's doing all this stuff, whatever. New ownership, fresh faces. Sam Howell's been looking good. I don't pay attention to the whole streak thing. I didn't even really know about it for real, until it was brought up last week, talking about the Ravens were going for I think it was 25th. I think they did 24 in a row. My whole thing is look at the team and how it looks. How does the offense function? That's why I gave my critiques in regards to the offensive line, how the offensive line is being handled. I'm sure Eric Bieniemy is going to work on that. But looking at the skill players, looking at how Sam Howell looked, I'm optimistic about the season. I'm optimistic about what they're doing. I'm optimistic about the owner. I love that. I love that Harris was there in a polo and some jeans, looking regular. Probably was lit. Seemed like he was lit. I love all that. Why? Because Dan Snyder would have been in his little press box, looking like a greased meatball, suited and booted.
Listen, I hear you.
These are the things. So this is not a celebration of necessarily the win because it's a preseason game. This is a celebration of trying to get that excitement back into the stadium. Trying to they put new video boards and stuff in the stadium because they're renovating it because we're still going to be there for a while. Like we're seeing things being done that's like, okay, we can probably take some pride in this. And then when you see your team, still having some holes, still still things they got to work on. When you see your team being productive and doing what they're supposed to do, that gives you some encouragement. So I'm saying all that to say, let the fan now. Steve, I don't know the delusional fans that that you see on your time. I can't speak on behalf of them, but for the most part, I'm saying let Commanders fans live in this moment.
I hear you, man. But unfortunately, you gotta be held accountable for your fans, just like I do. Just like everyone has to. Y'all been acting out, man.
I can't speak on delusion. I can't speak. All I can do is tell you that the real fans, the real Commander fans that I follow, we're all saying that we've been saying the same things on Twitter this entire preseason. Sam Howell looks great. I'm concerned about the offensive line. We pray that Terry McLaurin's turf toe is mild. Like we're being realistic at what we could possibly see. Because in my opinion, this is my opinion, I'm gonna stick with it because it makes the most sense to me. I really feel unless the Commanders somehow get to the NFC Championship game, which is not going to happen, this is going to be Ron Rivera's last year coaching. And I don't think it's going to be necessarily because of failure. I just think they brought EB in to eventually be the successor. I feel that Ron Rivera is like, I don't want to keep doing this. He has this thing with his family. He has his own health stuff. I don't know how much more Ron Rivera going to keep going like this. But for him to give EB the autonomy as the assistant coach, so much leeway when it comes to the offense, so much leeway of how he runs his camp, even though he had that little blunder of what he said a couple weeks ago. But he's let Eric Bieniemy run the camp. I truly believe that this time next year, we're looking at EB to be possible head coach for this franchise. If not next year, then the year after. I would see Ron Rivera at best 2 more seasons of him being a head coach, and then that's it. So I'm looking at all these things and praying that Sam Howell looks like the Sam Howell that was projected to be in the first round pick a couple years back before he lost half his team. I was telling this to Brandon. I was telling it to all you guys this morning. Don't look at the Commanders how it was in the past. Don't look at Sam Howell as a 5th round draft pick. Okay? This was a guy that his junior and senior year lost his number 1 wide receiver, his number 2 wide receiver, his 2 running backs, and 3 offensive linemen. All 3 of those offensive linemen they lost are all starters in the NFL right now. Starters. And North Carolina did nothing. Even Mac Brown admitted that they did nothing to help him for his junior season. So I just want to be optimistic because I like what I see. I'm being realistic, but I think we're building something that could be great. All those other delusional fans talking about they're going to the Super Bowl and all that stuff, I can't speak for them.
Okay. Well, yeah, we know how there are some delusional fans. There are delusional fans all over the country, but Fan is short for fanatic, and they're crazy people. Prime example, week 1, the Las Vegas Raiders beat the 49ers, and they were holding a candlelight vigil like this was the end for the 49ers. And it's like, bruh, it's preseason. None of our starters played. But if y'all want to take it, go ahead. Congratulations. At the end of the season, we'll see who has a better record and who goes further. But,
listen, I said the record I have for the Commanders is either 9-8 or 10-7.
That's fair.
I think there's still work to do.
I think that's fair.
But these experts or whatever, all these people that are talking about they're going to be like 4 wins and
No,
I think that's ridiculous. If we were able to go 8-8 with Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz,
I think the floor for the Commanders is 8 games. I think the ceiling's about 10.
About 10. Yep.
I think that's what it is. I really feel like they can pull off 8 games.
And
defense,
get a possible wild card.
The defense is going to be good. If they get Scary Terry back, run the ball with the enemy scheme, keep Sam Hall out of dangerous situations, they could easily pull off. At the very least, 8 wins. They might jump up and surprise a few people and win a couple of more. I honestly believe that division is going to have probably the biggest representation in the NFC in the playoffs. Because I really feel like it's probably going to be 2 out the West, probably 3 out the East, and then you'll have the winner of the South.
The Saints, because we know it's going to be
Right, you have the Saints winning the South, and then you have the winner out the North.
Probably the Vikings. And I'm rooting for Detroit, but it's probably going to be the Vikings.
I still got my money on Detroit. I feel like, because you got to realize this is the Detroit Lions team that swept the Bears and the Vikings last year.
Yeah.
They swept the Vikings last year. So it's like, this is not something we can just overlook. But, yeah, man, so nobody else wanted to chime in with any comments. So, I mean, it's cool. We are at our time anyway. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you subscribe to us on all our platforms, TikTok, YouTube, especially YouTube, and Facebook. We need the subscribers on YouTube. So bring a friend. Tell them, hey, man, I just saw a really cool podcast, man. You should check it out. These guys are crazy. And we need the subscribers. So come on in, hit the notification bell so you know that when we go live, you'll get a notification and you come join in the fun. We love interaction with our audience, so don't just sit back and watch us. If you have something you want to say or a question you want to ask, hey, well, what is such and such and such? And we'll be right there. We'll be right on it. So yeah, this is gonna be an interesting week 3 for the preseason, and then we have a bye week, which is weird because I grew up in the era where those 4 preseason games. And then we're going to start the regular season, which is really going to be interesting. I know there's going to be some takes on fantasy we could probably talk about next week. So if you want to talk about that next week, we can chime in on that. I think all of us are in a fantasy league or 2 in on this podcast, on this cast. So by all means, we're just fans. You're just fans. And we want to talk about football. So,
yeah,
Brandon,
definitely
I think Brandon froze up again.
Yeah, I think Brandon's froze up, but definitely excited about the season. Again, follow us on all social media, just like Pando said. Follow us everywhere. Pando, I'm still trying to get a shirt, so we got to do that.
I got to talk to my guy. In fact, I know another guy, so we might be able to get that done if the first guy falls through, though.
All right, sounds good. But yeah, this is us signing off. We'll holler at y'all for the regular season. Well, we'll holler at y'all for the week 3 preseason, and then we're gonna all become fans regularly. So this is Chris TV signing off. Pando 3.
Football is back, baby.
Football is back, baby. Steve White, Coach Williams. We'll holler at y'all next week. Peace.
Oh.